This is Weekly Woman by Jubilance for PMS. Edie Huo is a Toronto-based pageant coach using her passion for community and confidence to help others find their voice on stage. She was Miss Teen Toronto and a finalist for Miss Teen Canada. We're so excited to talk to her today. Welcome!
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here today.
Yay! We're so happy to have you.
Thank you.
What is your favorite word in the dictionary?
My favorite word in the dictionary has to be ebullience, which means the quality of being excited or like enthusiastic, which I think it's a personality trait that I really aspire to be. And I just really love that word because it represents so much for a person and all those positive, warm, fuzzy feelings that we associate with like excitedness and enthusiasm.
That's amazing. And actually, I was thinking about your word last week because we kind of started talking last week. But the company that I work for that puts this on is called Jubilance. And so it kind of has a similar notion and word definition as yours.
It does.
I thought
Yeah.
it was fun.
I think everything just all becomes this warm, fuzzy, positive little mishmash that I just love. And I feel like it really speaks to me because it's just so like positive and so uplifting.
I think that's great. That's definitely what we need right now. Speaking of like these crazy times, what is the TV show that you've binged in quarantine?
So a guilty pleasure of mine is Friends, because although some people do find it a bit corny, the laugh tracks are like a bit out there, but I just like how silly and how fun the show overall like it is. It's so over the top that for me, like right now, especially during quarantine, I think it's a really, really great way to relax and to get your mind off of things just by like, you know, how crazy the entire thing is. And just, it's a form of escapism that I really love. So my favorite TV show has got to be Friends.
Oh, that's awesome. I actually have never watched Friends, but I know it's like iconic and amazing.
Yeah, it's iconic. Iconic.
Yeah, and it's set in New York where I live, which is kind of bad that I haven't watched it.
Yeah, honestly, they have like the cafe called Central Perk, which is like a play on Central Park. And
Oh,
everything's just New York themed, and I really want to move to New York actually.
really? Oh my
Yeah,
gosh. What would you do in New York?
honestly, I'm very big on art, so I'd probably go and like watch Broadway every other day, and like go to like the Met Museum like every day probably. I'd probably go there like twice a day because I just really love like how there's so much art and so much history in New York.
Yes.
So yeah,
Have you ever made it here to New York?
I've been to New York probably 3 or 4 times.
Oh,
So,
excuse me.
yeah, I love the city overall. Like the vibe is just so like it's so positive and so just everyone has like this goal in their mind and they're just so motivated, and I just like love overall the environment that's there.
I've definitely heard the goal-oriented thing, but definitely not the positives. Like people are positive, but that's so nice. I feel like a happier New Yorker now.
Yeah, every New Yorker I've met has been so welcoming and so like ready to assist, so happy, so like just they're so like happy in what they have in their lives, and they're just they're all so smiley too. So
Wow, I like your version of New York. That sounds great.
yeah,
Where is your favorite place you've ever traveled? Was it New York?
probably New York. New York is like the place that I like to go to so many times. But the most unique place, or like, my favorite place, like personality growth wise, has to be like Cambodia, because I've been traveling since I was 2. I've been to like 25 countries.
Wow.
But in Cambodia, like I really understood like the beauty of different cultures, because Cambodia is, it's a teeny tiny little country in the middle of like a gigantic forest. But they have so much like ancient culture. There's so much just like it's like a completely new world. Like I've never like it's a whole different reality from the one that I know, because I've mainly grown up in Canada. So it's just completely different, and I really loved also as well how like everyone there like had a really deep knowledge of their culture, and there were so many like ancient testaments to humanity. And I just to see that firsthand, I just loved that because it was just so like eye-opening for me.
That's amazing. When were you in Cambodia?
So when I was in grade 4 or 5, my visa was messed up, so I had to go out every like two months, because I was studying in Beijing then. to
Wow.
learn Mandarin. So basically, every 2 months, I would leave to explore a new part of Asia. That's how I got like a lot of travel experience, and that's how I ended up in Cambodia because it was just the one place that I'd always heard of it. Like we all know of Cambodia, we know of like the place exists, but like not a lot of people. It's not like a very hot tourist destination. So I was just like, it seems like this part of human history that seems so exceptionally like, just because everything there was just it had this feeling of like you transporting back in time because everything's just really old. It's all just like it's not old, it's like ancient. It's like 500 centuries. It's like 500
Wow.
years old. So I just that's how I ended up in Cambodia.
That's amazing. And wait, like, I need to ask you, so you're just in Beijing studying Mandarin. Can you talk about, like, so you live in Toronto now,
Yes.
and you lived in Beijing. Can you talk a little bit about your story?
So I grew up in Vancouver actually. That's where I call my hometown because I was in Vancouver for like the better part of my life basically. But when I was around in grade 2 or 3, I would say, my parents were like reconnect a bit with like your Mandarin because I was kind of losing that along the way as I grew up. So I went to China for 3 or 4 years where I
Wow.
studied where I studied Mandarin, just got a bit of the culture, and then I just came right back because I could not miss poutine.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. Is that your
Yeah,
favorite food?
it's my favorite food. Like except for poutine, lasagna. They're close contenders, but
Two very carby, delicious, like
yeah,
cozy foods.
they're such a comfort. Like they're just amazing, gooey deliciousness of cheese.
That's amazing. And so
Mhm.
you're in Toronto now, right?
Yes, I'm in Toronto.
Oh, cool. And what is your favorite part about Toronto?
Oh, genuinely, it's the people that are here because, like, all my sponsors that I've had in Toronto, for example, my first sponsor, Richmond Hill Bridal Boutique, at the time I was still a very small personality. I was kind of new to the whole world of pageantry. So at that time, they were so welcoming, so open. And I think that that like personality trait has carried on throughout everyone I've met here because everyone here is so nice. They're so enthusiastic, especially when it comes to sports like hockey or basketball. Everyone is cheering, like they're all going crazy. It's like, everyone here is like a really, really, although Toronto is huge, it's a very like human wise, everyone's still very connected. Like their spirits feel like they're all the same person. So I feel like, yeah, just that feeling of like warm and how unified and just how open Toronto is, I think is my favorite part of the city.
Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, that sounds like a great place. It sounds like your
It
version
is.
of New York too. Everyone happy. That's great.
Yeah.
And can you talk a little bit more about like what was your journey in going into pageants? What got you into them? Because now you're a pageant coach. Can
Yeah.
you talk a little bit about your journey in the pageant world?
So because I've been traveling around basically my entire life, I did go through a bit of an identity crisis as a sixth grader. I know I'm so quirky, but like basically it was just because I was moving around, I was trying to assimilate into like a bunch of different social norms in different countries, and they're very different. So I felt like I was really lacking in my own self confidence because I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I wanted because I was just trying to match the vibe of everyone around me. So when I heard about pageants, like especially when I competed in Miss Teen Canada, there were placed a really really heavy emphasis on your personality and like who you are and being your best self on stage. So I just felt like what, this is the time for me to just try and discover who I am and just show that on stage and maybe get some formal recognition that like I am who I am, and that would be great for me, like just to get out of that little bubble that I was in.
That's awesome. And so you competed as Miss Teen Toronto and you
Yeah.
won. Can you
Yeah.
talk a little bit about that experience and then moving to Miss Teen Canada?
Yeah, so honestly, before I competed, my main source of like pageant knowledge was toddlers and tiaras, which is a show that yeah, no, that some myth busting is that that's completely false. Basically, at pageantry, what I discovered is I now have so many close friends that I know are there for me no matter what. And I realized that what, like the entire experience is just you trying to be your best self and you going into this community of women that are just so uplifting and so supportive of each other. So that like stereotype of people being catty backstage, people like, just being mean overall, it's completely false. Like everyone backstage, if you're missing a button, if your dress rips, people will be there to help you and support you and just try and guide you through the entire process. So I think that my experience was very, very overwhelmingly positive because the director, the choreographer, the people backstage, even my fellow competitors, my sisters, like everyone was just so nice. I think that the experience was just amazing.
I love that you call them your sisters. That's really special and heartwarming. I mean, I think the only thing I know about pageants and pageantry is from Miss Congeniality. So
Yeah.
that's my experience. But it's great to hear like those myth busting ideas
Mhm.
that you have. And then you moved on to becoming a pageant coach. Can you talk a little bit about deciding to coach other women?
So right now I'm still competing because I still want to, like sort of just improve on myself and to kind of just try and, do something good for me. But I also decided to become a coach because I found that in my first pageant, I was very budget conscious because, like, as a 13-year-old, I don't have like thousands of dollars to throw around. So I was just very budget conscious and I just decided that I was not going to have a coach because coaches out there were pretty expensive, pretty pricey. And because I was surviving off of my pocket money, that was not going to cut it right. So I was just like, now, I think that the wealth inequality within pageantry is also pretty big because girls that are able to, like, put out like hundreds of dollars per hour, they have like a huge leg up, right? So I was thinking that maybe I can, offer a budget conscious, like a cheaper pageant service, pageant coaching service, where I can help you with like what I found lacking in my own first preparation of my pageant. So as a coach, I just want to just help you cultivate an image, help you find your pageant personality, help you just build the wardrobe or those skills that match your vision, but at a cost that, makes sense for your budget.
Oh, that's amazing. And can you talk a little bit about some of your clients and who you've inspired?
So my latest client is called Melody Guderi. She has an album right now that's out and she has amazing music as well. But when she first came to me, I found that she was a bit unconfident, which I found really, really astounding because she's such a talented woman. Like she has so many talents. She's basically perfect and gorgeous and like, everything nice, but she was just lacking in that personal like confidence. So I just tried to change that because I feel like every single one of us has the ability to become, like our best selves because we can be our best selves. It's inside of us. We just haven't, kind of connected with her yet. So I just felt like I just kind of tried to help her see like why she was so amazing, help her see like how she could like project that like, amazing person that she is out there to everyone versus just to herself. So I think that that's how I try to inspire my clients by helping them get in touch with like the best version of themselves.
Oh, that's wonderful, Edie. Wow. And like amazing that she has like a music album as well. Like what a
Yeah.
girl who's doing everything. That's
Mhm.
awesome. Wow. And something that we always ask on this podcast is what does womanhood mean to you?
Womanhood to me, it means a woman being able to come to terms with who she is. Because I think that when we are developing as younger, like girls or as teens, what we're doing is we're trying to find ourselves. We're trying to find who we are and what we hold most dear to our hearts. So I think that as a woman, like in womanhood, I think what it means is just you being able to find that and being able to find who you are and to discover your own personal confidence. I think that's when someone reaches womanhood. I think also womanhood is just when people are confident, when women are just, they know they know what they bring to the table, they know what they can do, and they're overall just confident in themselves.
I think that's wonderful. That idea of finding confidence and such a through line in your work, like as a coach and helping your clients and like you discovering confidence in like being yourself up on the
Mhm.
stage. And that's just awesome. And another question we always ask is if you just like met someone on the street, like a woman on the street, and you had like one sentence of advice for her, what would it be?
If people around you don't like you, if the other people also don't like you, but if you like yourself, you have won in life. Because I think that what we try to do is everyone just tries to gain like, the recognition or like, the esteem in their social circle. But I think that if you continue to do that and you don't understand that you inherently from being yourself, like, because you are your own unique human being. Nobody else has lived like you have. I think that if you discover that you are enough in and of yourself, regardless of other people's validation, I think that that is how anyone can become their best selves.
Mm. Yeah, I think that's wonderful, and like comes from within, definitely, of deciding to be your best self,
Mm.
and not thinking about what other people think, which is definitely hard.
Yeah, it's hard. Like for me, even now, some days I get up and I don't feel like I like myself. And that's totally okay. But I think that understanding that even if you don't feel like, today is my best day, you can still be your best self, because you can still understand that, even though today I feel bad, there are other days, there are things I have done that I've helped others, maybe, or I've imparted a bit of kindness on this world. I've left a mark on someone else's lives. It's positive. I think just remembering all that stuff and remembering what you have done as a person, I think is the best way to just really get over that sort of, like, I don't think I'm enough sort of mental, like, block even.
Yeah, that is awesome, and something I need to work on a lot more. I like that idea that you are able to think about like every day isn't going to be the best day, but you
Yeah.
can think about how you've helped like your client, or how you've helped someone, or that little bit of kindness you said, and kind of turn that day around a little bit.
Hmm.
Yeah. And Edie, how can people get in contact with you? How can they find out about your coaching?
So currently, you can reach out to me at my business email, which is Edie Huo Pageant Coaching at gmail.com. Just reach out through me there, and I can send you, for example, like a client intake form, or or I can send you some like overall like introductions to pageantry, and then you can decide whether you want to move forward. But if you don't feel like you're at that step yet, but just want to like know a bit more about me, know a bit more about pageantry, you can always reach out to me at my Instagram, which is Edie_HUO. I will reply to you as soon as I can.
Awesome. That's so amazing. Yes, everyone, you should check out her Instagram. It's great. And definitely look into her being your coach if you're in the pageant world. Thank you so much for being on, Edie.
Thank you so much for having me.